Hey, I'm Claire Solomon, Akashic Records practitioner, business strategist, and astrology and human design nerd. And this is the Kinda Cosmic podcast, down-to-earth chats about out-of-this-world stuff. We'll talk Akashic insight, astrology, star seeds, cosmic intel, soul purpose, and all the strange, beautiful ways the universe shows up in everyday life. No fluff, just real talk about being a soul in a human body. Hi and hello. In today's episode, I want to chat about something that, when people discover it in an Akashic Records reading, it tends to arrange their entire understanding of their whole life. No biggie or anything. It's what I call your primary life lesson. And before I give examples, I actually want to explain the architecture behind it, because this isn't just a nice metaphor, it's actually part of how incarnation works. A huge reason souls incarnate on Earth is for the learning opportunities offered here, and only here on this weird spinning rock we find ourselves on. Earth is dense, so dense. But it's relational and emotional. It's unpredictable, mainly because of the rule of free will that we have here. But all of this seemingly messiness is what makes Earth incredibly efficient for growth. Now, before we even incarnate, as we're plotting out all our main life things, choosing our families, one of the biggest things we decide on in conjunction with our spirit team is we choose a curriculum for the upcoming life. This frames almost everything about our life. And when I say curriculum, I don't mean a list of tasks or subjects. I mean energetic qualities and themes we, at a soul level, want to explore more deeply. There are 88 possible life lessons that we as souls can choose to dive into deeper on Earth. I call them life lessons because that's easy language, right? But they're actually themes, threads, underlying energetic qualities that run through a lifetime. You don't walk around thinking about them consciously. That's not really part of the game. They are recorded in your Akashic record, of course, which is where I can see it for you, but we aren't born consciously knowing which of the 88 lessons we chose for this lifetime. Our souls are here partly for the challenge of trying to remember, right? Like game mode activated. But whichever primary life lesson you chose does shape the types of people you are drawn to, the kinds of challenges that you encounter, and the opportunities that stretch you. The primary life lesson is like the major or the PhD you selected as your focus before you arrived. So the question is, why would we bother doing that? And the answer is one word: wholeness. On a soul level, we're not broken, but there's always parts of us that we want to stretch and grow and evolve more. The goal is always wholeness. Back in the very beginning, when we first broke away from Source, the magic sparkle dust or whatever we were, that was the whole point. We are each just the exact same thing, a bit of the main Source energy who is off experiencing itself in an individual form. Like I'm on an adventure and I get to play with all of the themes and experience these polarities and things. We all have individual strengths and we each have natural tendencies, certain energetic qualities that come easily to us. And you can see a lot of those things in your soul group of origin, your energetic training in between lifetimes, your birth chart. I've done a previous episode around soul groups, which I'll link for you below. But ultimately, there are also qualities we lack in a kind of unfinished business way, not in a shameful way or a frustrating way, but like on purpose, right? Like that's why we are on Earth again right now, the perfect school, right? Life lessons give us experiences that gently and sometimes dramatically change us at the soul level so we can integrate those missing qualities. They stretch us slightly, they round us out, they make us more whole. And a few important things to understand about them: you'll have one primary life lesson. That's the dominant one, the theme that feels most persistent. You'll also have secondary life lessons, and I usually see people have around one, sometimes two secondary life lessons, and these are more of an undercurrent rather than the main vibe of your life. And as I said, this is like a PhD or a master's that you are studying. So it's really long game growth. It takes multiple lifetimes to thoroughly explore just one life lesson. And this is an important part. There is no deadline. It's not a to-do list. It's not something you achieve. You don't consciously need to try and learn it and manufacture scenarios or relationships to force yourself deeper into the themes of the life lesson. We've already baked that into our soul path. Like, that bit's already sorted. You will naturally attract and subconsciously choose experiences that help you explore the thing. And we don't only learn through hard experiences. We learn through the beautiful, fun, joyful ones too. And all of them count. All of that rounds out all of the angles and perspectives of a particular life lesson. So now that you have that understanding of the framework, let's bring it to life. Let's start with the life lesson of tolerance, which is one of the 88 possible life lessons, and believe it or not, is one I see quite often for my clients. If tolerance is your primary life lesson, ultimately you are learning to live and let live. That might sound like a simple concept, but it's not an easy thing. You might repeatedly find yourself around people whose opinions, values, or their personality really differs from yours in ways that can feel mildly uncomfortable or actually downright infuriating. Maybe you grew up in a family where your worldview didn't quite match those around the dinner table with you. Maybe you consistently attract friendships or relationships where someone challenges you in the same subtle way over and over. Or maybe you notice a pattern of tolerating too much, like brushing off behaviors that don't actually sit that well with you until one day you feel like you're going to snap. Tolerance as a life lesson isn't about becoming endlessly patient. It's about refining discernment. So, what can I accept? What is simply a difference between me and this person? What is actually deep misalignment? And where is the line between tolerance and then actually abandoning yourself by tolerating that thing? Often people with this lesson, once they know that's the one they chose, will look back over their life and realize they've experienced many situations that felt genuinely intolerable. And it's not because they were unlucky, but because soul clarity was required. The lesson can actually be subtle. Tolerance is not just put up with everything, tolerate it, be more tolerable. It's actually, underneath it, it's actually a lesson on boundaries. Where are you nitpicking over other people's flaws when you could be learning to be accepting of minor annoyances? And where have you actually been accepting what is truly unacceptable behavior? So it's working out where that line between tolerance and indulging somebody's behavior actually is. Now let's look at another example, the life lesson of confidence. If confidence is your primary life lesson, you are here to learn to believe in yourself, to get comfortable in your own skin, to recognize that you have something of value to contribute. And this one almost always shows up as its opposite, right? You might be talented, insightful, capable, and yet you hesitate. You downplay yourself, your skills, your gifts. You wait for permission. Life probably keeps placing you in situations that require visibility or leadership or risk or expression. And it's not because you are being tested by the universe, but it's because that's how the muscle strengthens, and that's how, at a soul level, you wanted to play with this theme. People with this life lesson often describe this like a persistent internal wobble, a feeling of being almost ready, always almost ready. And over time, then they can start to see the pattern, that the opportunity wasn't random and the discomfort that they were feeling wasn't a stop sign. It was the curriculum. Confidence as a life lesson isn't about becoming loud, dominant, flashy. It's actually about becoming internally steady, right? Like that's soul level confidence. Your internal world feels steady and calm. And Earth is a brilliant place to play with the concept of confidence because we have a body, obviously, but we also have a mind and an ego that is trying to keep us safe and as a result, keep us small, right? So Earth is perfect to play with confidence themes. Another life lesson example is sustainability. And this one tends to show up strongly in really driven, capable people. If sustainability is your life lesson, you are learning to build a life that makes sense long-term. Long-term for your health, for your relationships, for your nervous system. So you might have repeated experiences of pushing too hard, burning out, choosing relationships or work situations that look really good on paper, but slowly or even sometimes really quickly drain you. You build momentum and then you crash. Over and over, life will ask you the same quiet question. Can you keep living like this? And if you don't know sustainability is your life lesson, those patterns feel really frustrating or unfair. Like, why is everyone else further along than me? Why can others achieve way more things and have way more success and I seem to fall short or crash out? When you do know, these situations give you the opportunity for refinement. That burnout wasn't and isn't failure. It's the clearest feedback around sustainability for you. How long can I keep doing this? The unsustainable relationship wasn't wasted time. It was the contrast that you needed, right? You begin to understand that your soul isn't measuring success by speed. It's actually measuring it by longevity. And overall, this is why knowing your primary life lesson changes everything, because it reframes your past. The difficult relationships, the repeated dynamic, the opportunities that terrified you, it becomes less, why do these things keep happening to me? And more, oh, this is the thread. And when the next challenge appears, because it will, you're less destabilized because you have context. And it's really a powerful moment in an Akashic Records reading because when somebody hears their life lesson, you can almost sense the relief around it. And it's not because life suddenly becomes easy. It's because it becomes coherent. The curriculum becomes clear. And I think that is so empowering. And it almost gives you a little jetpack to jump forward in the integration of those themes that you wanted to work on while you were here. So something gentle to reflect on this week. If you zoom out over your life, what theme keeps repeating? Not the events, but the actual flavor of them. Is it boundaries? Is it belief in yourself or balance? Is it belonging? Is it control? Is it freedom? There's usually a thread. And here's the part I really want to leave you with. when you know your primary life lesson, it pulls so much of your life into clearer focus. It's like somebody hands you the correct prescription glasses and suddenly the last 10 or 20 years can come into sharper detail. You can look back at difficult relationships and instead of just remembering the pain, you can actually see what was being refined in you in that moment. You can look at different career pivots and realize that that wasn't as chaotic as it felt. It was alignment. And you can see that you weren't randomly battling and struggling through life. You were working through something really specific. And that's incredibly grounding because it removes that sense of why is this happening to me and replaces it with, I see what this is doing. So it also changes how you move forward. If you know your life lesson, you have the context. You don't spiral as quickly. You don't personalize every obstacle. You understand that you are in a living and moving process. You still get to choose your path. You still get to say no, all of the free will stuff. You still get to walk away from what doesn't feel right, but you're making those decisions with awareness of the thread running underneath it all. And in my readings, I also look into the percentage completion of that life lesson too, just to see how far along you may be in the integration of that. And by the way, I often get asked if we complete 100% of our life lesson within the current life, what happens? And the answer is you drop dead immediately. Just joking. What will happen is your secondary life lesson will switch in at that moment and become the bigger theme for the rest of that lifetime. But even without confirmation from me or another Akashic reader on your life lesson, you can still start noticing and pondering what the thread could be, right? Because you are already living your curriculum. You have been from day dot. And maybe it's actually been making more sense than you realized. And that's it for today's Kinda Cosmic Chat. Find more soul-aligned guidance at clairesolomon.com.